All right, the final thing I have is some advice from the Wichita Fire Department. This is the time of season where families and friends start getting together to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is also a time where people like to cook in their family get-togethers, and so as Ted's report thing slides, I'd like to remind everybody to cook with caution. Cooking fires are the number one cause of fires, not only nationally, but in Wichita. They're also the leading cause of injuries when it comes to burns. So we'd like to encourage people to do a few things to keep themselves and their families safe. First of all, be on the alert and never leave your kitchen while you're cooking, even for a moment. If you need to leave because the dog's barking or the kids are crying or the phone's ringing, simply turn the heat off for a few moments and come back to it when it's safe to do so. If you're using your stove, use a timer. That will help remind you when whatever it is you're cooking is done. It'll also help remind you to turn the stove off. We also want to encourage people to keep things like oven mitts and wooden utensils and paper wrapping that the food comes in, boxes, mail, newspapers, magazines, things like that away from the stovetop. Those things are combustible, and stoves naturally produce heat. So when you have heat and something that will burn together, the chances of having a fire greatly increase. So keep those things away. Also, we'd like to encourage folks to have a kid-free zone, a 3-foot zone around the stove to keep children and even pets away from the stove. I talked a little bit earlier about the leading cause of injuries is in the kitchen and around the stove, and those kids can grab those pans and pull the hot contents down on them, and that's just a horrific injury. We want to have a kid-free zone. The last thing I'd like to talk about before I wrap up is turkey fryers. Turkey fryers are really cool. They're really neat. People like to use them, enjoy the end result of frying a turkey, but don't use those things inside your home. Don't use them in your kitchen. Don't use them inside your garage. Don't use them on your wood deck. Take them out on a nice, flat, non-combustible surface like your driveway, away from your home, 15 feet at least, and follow the manufacturer's recommendations. There's a couple of key points to following the manufacturer's recommendations I'd like to point out to you. Number one, don't overfill the oil. That if you deposit your turkey into the deep fryer and you've got too much oil in there, the oil's going to overflow. It's already heated to at least 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And as soon as it comes into contact with the open flame below, you're going to have a grease fire. And grease fires are not fun. They're difficult to put out. They run because they're a liquid, and you'll catch other stuff on fire. The second thing I'd like to point out is to make sure your turkey is fully thawed out. You guys have all seen water added to a grease fire. Water and grease don't mix well. It's almost an explosive event. So make sure the turkey's completely thawed out and as void of water as possible, and drop it in slowly. We're going to do a demonstration. We're going to try to do it today at 11:30, but the weather isn't cooperating. So next Tuesday at 11:30 at the Wichita Fire Department's Regional Training Center, we're going to do a demonstration on what not to do with a turkey fryer. It's 4780 East 31st Street South. So we'll give you all time to wrap up here and do whatever it is you're doing. Is Tuesday a bad day because of council meetings? Should I do Monday? I'm soliciting feedback from those of you who are affected. Okay, sweet. Tuesday it is. Tuesday we're good?
No, what's the address?
Monday?
Monday would probably be better because we do have a city council meeting on Tuesday.
Okay, let's do Monday.
Wouldn't that be better? Yep.
Monday at 11:30.
Monday at 11:30?
Yep, Monday at 11:30.
What's the address again?
4780 East 31st Street South. Yep. Okay, so back to my cooking fire safety tips. If you do have a fire, there's a couple things we need you to do. Number one, have a plan. Get your family out and have a place to meet. Call 911 and close the doors on the way out of your home. The wind is ventilation, and that just makes the fire worse. So get out of the house with your family, have a plan, call 911, have a place to meet, and close the doors on your way out. If the fire is small and you decide that you want to try to fight the fire, simply turn the power off, cover the pan with a lid or a wet towel, and then still call 911 and we'll come out and check and make sure it didn't extend up into your cabinets. If you guys have questions or need additional information, of course, you can always call the fire prevention offices at 268-4441. You can find us on wichita.gov, and you can check us out on Facebook. We're going to post some safety tips up on Facebook as well.
Brad, can you talk about having a fire extinguisher in the kitchen or in the house and how you might
Yeah.
do or not do?
Right. Fire extinguishers are important. They're an important tool, but you need to know how to use them. Don't just go buy one and think you know what to do. Not all fire extinguishers are created equally. Some fire extinguishers are designed specifically for the kitchen, others for the garage and for your bedrooms and living rooms. If you try to use like a water fire extinguisher on a grease fire, you're going to make it worse. It's simply explosive. There's no other way to put that. If you use a typical fire extinguisher like a 2A10BC, which is a very normal fire extinguisher that we could buy at any retail store, it's probably going to knock the fire down, but you're going to have to get it away from the heat source. You're going to have to turn the stove off and get it away, and you're going to make a heck of a mess. But nevertheless, it's better to have a little mess from the dry chemical than it is to have your house and your kitchen burn up. But if you get a fire extinguisher, know how to use it. The fire department does offer training on fire extinguishers. There's websites out there that show you how to use them. You can probably Google it and find something on YouTube about what to do with a fire extinguisher. And we'd encourage folks to have them, but if the fire's too big, if you feel like you can't handle it, the best thing to do is to get out and call 911 and get us there. We will be there in about 4.5 minutes.
Are you sure?
Absolutely positive.
4.
Could be 4.25 minutes.
What about those little can things that you can put above the stove?
Cold fire?
Yeah.
I saw that. I think, who does that? Channel 12, does it work? Channel 10, who does it work?
We do does it
Okay,
work.
thank
I
you,
didn't see
Channel
that.
12. Yeah, those cold fire works. The good thing about the cold fire is you can install them above your residential stove, and you can install them above any stove in your home. The bad thing about cold fire is if it does activate, you need to replace it. It's not a rechargeable system. So, but they do work. I've seen them work. They did a story a couple nights ago, and they're all over YouTube as well. Those are good little safety devices to have just in case you have a fire. It doesn't negate us needing to do what we do to prevent the fire from happening in the first place, but if a fire does occur, those things certainly do work.
You want to talk about smoke detectors just because we're...
Sure. Smoke alarms are extremely important. Smoke alarms don't put the fire out, but they do alert you that there is a problem. We need to keep those smoke alarms tested monthly. We need to keep the batteries maintained. We encourage folks to trade those out at least once a year, twice preferably. And if you have a smoke alarm, which you should, test it and make sure everybody knows what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. Don't be lulled into the possibility that it's a false alarm. It may well be, but go ahead and practice your fire safety drill to get out of the home. Call 911 and let the professionals come out and check them out. I have one more treat for you. I have Lieutenant Jose Oquedes here, and he would like to give you our Cooking with Caution update in Spanish.
Okay.
Jose?
Thanks, Chief.
Oh, you are welcome.
I'm sure.
Spell your name.
Yeah, can you give us and spell your name, please?
Lieutenant Jose Oquedes, J-O-S-C, last name is O-C-A-D-I-Z.
And do you have a title that would firefighter? What's your title?
A lieutenant with fire prevention.
Okay. Okay. We're ready anytime.
Hola, como se aproxima la fiesta de Acción de Gracias, el Departamento de Bomberos en Wichita está recordando a la ciudad de Wichita que cocinando son la cosa número 1 en incendios en la casa. Está alerta cuando está cocinando. Quédase en la cocina todas las veces. Apagar la estufa y no se sale de la cocina. Usar un reloj o timer cuando está cocinando para recordarte que tienes algo en la estufa. Tener una zona libre de niños de por lo menos 3 pies de la estufa, porque los niños pueden abrazar algo en la estufa y puede quemarse. Además, el Día de Gracias, muchas personas le gustan a cocinar, a freír un pavo. Si vas a freír un pavo, no lo hace en la casa o en el garaje. tienes que estar afuera 10 o 15 pies de la casa. Un incendio puedes crecer 2 veces tomando a 30 segundos. Si tienes un incendio, llama 911 para los bomberos. Si tienes preguntas o quieres más información, puede llamarnos a 268-4441 y también puedes visitarnos a wichita.gov o en Facebook.